Hallie and Hunter both received payments from the Chi-Coms, principally an entity called CEFC and its affiliates. And at that time, they were living together. Hallie, she got addicted to crack cocaine, had sex videos with her dead husband's brother. This woman, Liz, was at the time basically living with her sister Hallie, and Hunter employed both Hallie and Liz. What's not honorable is FaceTiming naked with a guy who is employing you, even though you do no work, while he's also screwing your sister.
This is the special counsel. This is David Weiss. He's asking the court, right before trial is starting, for an order to compel Hallie Biden, who Garrett will tell us a lot more about, to testify and to produce evidence pursuant to U.S. Code, saying we respectfully represents that Hallie Biden has been subpoenaed to testify at the trial beginning on September 5th. Counsel for Hallie Biden has advised, so her attorney, that if Hallie Biden is called to the stand, she will at that time refuse to answer questions, invoking her constitutional privilege against self-incrimination. And so in the judgment of the special counsel, the testimony of Hallie Biden may be necessary to public interest. And an authorized deputy approved an application for an order instructing her to testify, saying that wherefore, pursuant to U.S. Code, the special counsel requests the court order Hallie to give testimony relating to all matters within her knowledge about which she may be interrogated in this matter. In support of this motion, special counsel attached the declaration. And so that's the order.
But they need this approval per DOJ regulations from Stuart Goldberg. The whole point of this is that they're going to make Hallie testify, but anything she says cannot be used against her directly or indirectly. So I'm a big believer in the Fifth Amendment. During our deposition, Abby Lowell asked me about the Fifth Amendment, and I had to correct him. He gave a lying interpretation. He said that if you invoke the Fifth Amendment, that means that your testimony would tend to implicate you. And I said, no. You need to go back to 1L, man. You do not have to say a thing. You can be convicted of murder, and nobody forces you in this country to say a freaking word. Right. And I love that. It's one of my favorites after the first.
Very important.
So she doesn't have to talk, but if that threat is no longer there, then you can compel testimony. So Hallie Biden is not just an innocent widow of Beau. She was screwing Hunter, and she was taking the Chi-Com cash, and in some cases even directly received money from foreign principals, and they have that through the bank records.
Did she also testify in the first?
She did, and they made her.
She did.
She testified in the Delaware trial, and I was sitting right in front of her attorney and her now husband. She set the marriage date for her and her new financial advisor husband from Cincinnati named John Anning on a Sunday, and the trial started on Monday. So I think they set that wedding date like back in November, and then they ironically just got a terrible trial date. But she was there, talked about her crack addiction. Remember, the smartest man the U.S. president knows got his brother's widow addicted to crack cocaine. And
she actually found the gun, right? She's the one who found the gun.
She found the gun. Right. And to be frank, she knows this, and she admitted this in iMessage. But Hunter wouldn't have been in that Delaware trial without Hallie. Hallie is nuts. Remember the Hot Crazy Matrix video? Yeah. All women are at least a 2 crazy. This is scientific. Hallie is like a 9, okay? She took a gun out of his console and threw it in a trash can outside of a public supermarket.
Wild.
It's her fault that he even got prosecuted, because that gun would have never, I don't think he would have ever used it. But there is a fun inside joke. The FBI code name for the investigation into Hunter is Sportsman. That's because he told the Delaware State Police that he was using the gun for target practice. Never used a gun for target practice. He lied to the state police. So that's why it's a tongue-in-cheek. It's tongue-in-cheek. It was hilarious. The Secret Service code name for Hunter, by the way, and this is another exclusive in our dossier, we also got help from a New York Post writer on this, is Chieftain. So we had a couple memes cooked up of Hunter smoking a crack pipe as the old Indians did, right, as a peace pipe. So you're paying for this. The Secret Service is guarding Hunter Biden. They call him Chieftain. And the FBI calls him Sportsman because he was using it for target practice.
Right. While he was passing out, right, sleeping on the hoods of cars downtown, cracked out.
Yeah, with a dealer named Mookie.
Crack.
Guess what?
Mookie, yeah.
Talk about limited hangouts. We called Leo Wise and Derek Hines on their limited hangout, and they submitted the night before the closing arguments, Robert, they submitted text that we put on Twitter on Sunday night. So we submitted text that show that Hunter was using crack. Hey, you know what? I'm just going to go to it real quick. It's going to be
that's
under
amazing.
The sex-related crime section. He's going to be with a crack addict named Kellyanne Corey. And this is Hunter. It's redacted. Don't worry. He's buck naked with the crack addict. You see the cocaine right there? Yeah. That's a screenshot from a video. The prosecution still didn't submit that. And one of the charges charges is that he was on drugs while he possessed the gun. But they did get one of the other texts we submitted. We put this on Twitter, tag David Weiss. 3 hours later, they submit part of the text we put on there.
That's amazing. So evidence from your report shows up in the actual trial against Hunter from the government prosecutors.
Precisely. This never gets covered by the mainstream media. They all want to call me an extremist. Totally ridiculous.
Right.
Absolutely
Actual
ridiculous.
evidence used in
court. This
court.
is a screenshot from a video. Guess what? We have the file name. It's img_0005.mov. We tell the prosecution what to search in the laptop.
Amazing. What are we expecting Hallie to add to this, right? So she doesn't want to come in and talk. She didn't want to come in and talk last time. Now she talked about the gun stuff in the first trial. Now what's coming up from her, you think, is going to be the highlights of her testimony?
Hallie and Hunter both received payments from the Chicoms, principally an entity called CEFC and its affiliates. And at that time, they were living together. And so they're going to be asking her about particular payments that Hunter made that were then written off as business expenses.
Okay.
And she is going to be there because she was there, meaning she's going to be at the trial and being in the stand because she knows that these were Hunter committed perjury because he swore and signed his name on a tax return that was obviously false. So she was there in the room when it happened, as was her sister, Liz Secundi, if you want to pull up that motion.
Yeah.
Because they're the same. This is Hallie Biden. That's Bo. And this is their two progeny. They actually named their son Hunter after Hunter.
Okay.
And Hallie, she got addicted to crack cocaine, had sex videos with her dead husband's brother. And they actually had a sex toy kit shipped to their house on February 9th, 2017. For $24.95, they used the express next day shipping for a UK-based sex toy company called Love Honey. And so what do we do in the dossier? We put the email receipt.
Yeah, you just had the receipt there. All right.
So what do? We got pictures of Hunter with Bo, and then Hallie.
Yeah.
And again, within 2 years of Bo being put in the ground.
Terrible.
And again, Joey and Jill, March of 2017, gave a statement to page 6 of the New York Post and People magazine that said, "We're all happy that Hunter and Hallie found each other during this difficult time." While he was still married to Kathleen.
Wild.
Joe's a total mess. I don't care what grab-ass DJT played in the 90s when he was single. Dude, your son got your daughter-in-law, the widow, addicted to crack cocaine.
And they didn't even want to talk about it. They buried the whole thing. The media never investigated any of this. They just, come up with weird slogans like the other side is weird. And like Hunter was married to dead brother's widow, and everybody just kind of carries on. It's a weird family, man.
He was never married, but he was cheating on.
Okay, there you go.
But Kathleen, this was like the last straw for Kathleen. Hunter had always used foreign prostitutes on his business trip. She said this in her own book, but she wrote that off. She said, when he's in China, he's in China, right? Let the guy sow his wild oats. He's a Biden, and nobody else with a Biden. When he did the brother's widow, that was too much for Kathleen. That's when she said, "You're out of the house. I'm sorry, Hunter. You may be the smartest man Joe knows, but you ain't living at our family home anymore."
Okay, so let's talk about Elizabeth Secundi. So we also have this document. So she also is getting a subpoena and testimonial immunity so she can testify, saying her counsel says that if she takes the stand, she will refuse to answer questions. Same thing. And so got the same approval once again by Leo Weiss. So she'll get subpoenaed to come into court and they'll give her some testimonial immunity so she can talk about this stuff without facing charges. What do we know about her and what are we expecting from her?
Elizabeth Secundi is the lone sister of Hallie Biden. Joel Secundi was her ex-husband who tragically just died of cancer. I actually called up Joel when he had cancer. We gave to his GoFundMe page, but that was years after he got divorced from Liz. But Liz's maiden name, as is Hallie's maiden name, is Olivier, and she was sexting Hunter at the same time her sister, Hunter's brother's widow, was having sex with her. They were apparently FaceTiming naked. Hunter bought her, quote, extra small panties, and this woman, Liz, was at the time basically living with her sister Hallie, and Hunter employed both Hallie and Liz. So to answer your question directly, Liz knows, because she went through Hunter's statements at the time, we know this because of emails, she knows that the things that Hunter wrote off as business expenses were not business expenses. So that's why they want her testimony, because she was there. And Liz has never supported herself, which is fine. My wife doesn't support herself because she's married to me, right? And that's totally honorable. What's not honorable is FaceTiming naked with a guy who is employing you, even though you do no work, while he's also screwing your sister. So we call this the Olivier sisters. And Ron Olivier, their father, blocked us on Twitter because we tagged him and said, first of all, he was denigrating somebody politically. And we said, dude, you need to sit down. Both of your only daughters got nailed by Hunter Biden. Like, he shouldn't show his face. The fact that Ron Olivier hasn't moved to the Villages is
Two
insane.
daughters, yeah.
So Liz is the sister of Hallie. They're both equally degenerate. Liz is a chain smoker. And get this is funny. Liz is a counselor. She's a registered counselor. Once you go through this report, you will know that Liz should not be counseling anybody on anything. Liz is the one who needs counseling.